cave. Y'all seen what these guys in Oregon found? And it's a cave. Heh. Wait till you see what's inside.
Here they are. Why are all these shoes? But first, let's start at the very beginning. We all know what that symbol is, don't we? As Jeremiah ventured deeper and deeper into the cave, things started to get weird. There was a weird energy in the air, Jeremiah said, but he decided to keep going no matter what. As he approached the bleachers, his heart started racing faster and faster. He still knew there was more to this trip, so he kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. Then he comes along, the infamous shoes. Now you explain to me why hundreds and hundreds of pairs of shoes would be back here just waiting. Almost as if they were taken off and left there. And that looks like a bone. Obviously it's not people bones, it's turkey bones. So nothing.
Craziest places on earth that you will seriously not believe exist. No. What? So welcome to the series, and in this series we're going to be looking at the craziest places and potentially even going to some of them. So without further ado, let's get into part one. So this right here is Kalichi in Kazakhstan.
This is my country of Kazakhstan. It's nice.
Famously known as Sleepy Hollow. Now for years, this place has been a mystery and the epicenter of so many different theories. Because for decades, people literally just randomly fall asleep every single day. And I'm not talking like, oh, they just get tired, there's just randomly. Like literally just collapsing out of nowhere, people falling asleep. There'll just be people sleeping everywhere, which I mean, yeah, in my books, I wouldn't say is normal. Well, a professor from the Polytechnic University made a statement a while ago about this place. And this isn't 100% certain, but it basically is the most plausible explanation to what's going on here. So, nearby to this place, there is a lot of mines. And in these mines, there is a lot of radon gas. So the most likely thing is that this radon gas is seeping out in such large amounts every single day from the mine shafts. It is travelling across to the town, and these people are then essentially just breathing in this gas and passing out, falling asleep everywhere. You're literally just breathing in toxic gas. Like, what? What is going on? But anyway, hit that follow button and I'll see you in the next one.
Walking around just passing out and falling asleep? That can't be nice. But me, I don't need no help from no gas. I can fall asleep anywhere. Waiting for doctor's appointments, just appointments in general, waiting on people in the car. It don't matter, I'll take a nap.
With the Super Bowl coming up, are these stadiums really ritual energy extraction sites? So I found this post from 2020, right? And then I started looking at the aerial view of stadiums from up above, and it does look like an eye, right? So it was debunked supposedly that stadiums are ritual extraction sites. The article said that the NFL stadiums are all seeing eyes, full of cheering people, sending colossal amounts of competitive worshiping, idolizing energy and vibrations through the eyes. And, websites claimed that this was false, okay? So there was an ad that was ran to where people used and touched up images to make the stadiums look like an eye. However, from a bird's eye view, from an aerial view, it does give the appearance of an eye. And God definitely says to worship no one but Him. And when you look at these superstars, some people do worship football players. Some people do worship the Super Bowl over God. So what do you guys think?
There was a startling discovery in the deserts of Peru. It appears to be a tiny, mummified head, and X-rays concluded it was a real skull, but with very alien-like features. Even the arms and hands of the creature were elongated and strange. Was this creature an ancient alien or a mutated human?
I got a couple new UFO clips for you, Booshkies. This one's over India just the other day. Look at that. Big red right up in the sky. And wait till you see what happens to it. A lot of people saw this thing. A lot of people recorded it. But something mysterious happens to it after a while. And it's just about to happen now. Get ready. Get ready. It just disappears. It disappeared. That was just number one. Here's number two. An amateur astronomer caught this going right by the moon, Booskies. I don't know what it could be, but it's unidentified, it's flying, and it's an object. Remember, that's what UFO means. And the third one is the most amazing one of the bunch. recorded from the cockpit of an airplane. Look at that flying sphere UFO going right by the plane, going hundreds of miles an hour. Booshkies, UFO! Tell me what you think of these unidentified flying objects, Booshkies. Let me know in the comment section. Shabadoo!
October of 1954 is when we mastered gravity control.
Powering the gravity amplifiers. Gravity amplifiers output goes into the gravity emitters at the bottom, and the resulting gravity beam or anti-gravity wave can be pretty much put anywhere you want to.
This is an example of many. You've probably seen some of these already. The craft is spinning. It's up close. It looks like a legitimate, authentic video, amateur video. And right about now, you're going to see a very fast acceleration. And that's what we've been talking about, folks. And the important part is that this introduces a concept which I'd like to share with the panel, and that is inertia is involved. And as we get to the next slide, hopefully we can see that the inertial mass and gravitational mass are totally different. This is a seminal paper that's so important that it opens the door to actually controlling inertia and understanding how any ET craft or UFOs could possibly have fast acceleration, right-angle turns, and maybe even travel through the universe. It turns out F equals V cross B, a simple Lorentz force at the bottom of the slide there showing how it works. So when we go around a curve and you feel that force moving you in the opposite direction, it's an electromagnetic interaction. Next slide.
One of these objects that was at the Norton Air Show in 1988 that we have drawings for, and a witness who was there, Brad Sorensen, he stated emphatically that that object had been through the solar system and it was operational late 1950s, early 1960s, and it had mercury component parts inside of it. So the technology of electrogravitic, it's called electromagnetogravitic, or anti-gravity, that was pretty much under operational function by 1954-55. By the late 50s, early 60s, they had that capability.
I'm just waiting for them to unveil these Space Force vehicles. By the time they unveil them, the shock value will be lost from all this lingering talk about UAPs and stuff.
So have y'all heard about this chaff from these military exercises looking like a storm cloud? Which made me very, very curious what was in this chaff and how could this chaff affect us? So I decided to go to Google and look up what is chaff. Chaff is a radar countermeasure used by the military aircraft, consisted of very small pieces of metal such as aluminum. It can appear as narrow bands reflecting on the radar since they have dispersed by planes flying at high speeds along the path. And I decided to look up the metal particle that they was talking about and see what aluminum exposure can do to you. Yeah, it can cause flu-like symptoms with a metal taste in your mouth, headaches, fevers, chills, aches, a tightening of the chest, and coughs. And who remember about a month ago when everybody was coming down with the strange mutant cough? Now, I'm not saying this because it is chaff, but that is something to think about. Let me know y'all thoughts on this video in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom and stay tuned.
In the Air Force, one of my duties was to load up the chaff and flare. And he's right, that chaff is aluminum.
Okay guys, I think I found a real life glitch. This is honestly so trippy, okay? I did not manipulate these photos. I have not edited these photos. You are going to just watch this video and you're gonna see something crazy, or maybe it's just me. So you're gonna take a look. Right here in the center, you're gonna stare at the cross in the center of these pictures. Now, don't get distracted and look elsewhere. Focus all of your attention at the cross in the middle of these photos. Now, as these photos start to change, you're gonna see some of these faces, I don't know, like start to look like they've got some alien-like features, some reptilian-like features, but these photos are not edited, so I don't really understand how this is possible or what you're seeing. If you don't believe me, you can watch it again and only look at one photo at a time. You'll see that they're not edited photos at all. So if anyone can explain what the heck is happening, please let me know and follow for more.
Anybody try that? I think it's just the brain trying to piece the two images together.
Everyone on this planet signs spiritual contracts, and when you don't do your spiritual contract, you see what happens. Look at the world right now. So many spirits that is not doing their spiritual contracts. Now what happens is this: once you get in this matrix, we had real spiritual contracts before we had a physical body. We came here to do certain things, but once we started signing other contracts and other agreements in the matrix, we are now matrix contract agents. I want people to really understand that you become an agent to your own spiritual purpose if you do not do your spiritual mission. Now, we have something going on right now. Starseeds against the 13 witches. The 13 witches controls the zodiac. Every zodiac, there is a witch attached to it. I know they told us it's only 12 zodiacs. No, there are 13 zodiacs. That's why a lot of witches, their favorite number is 13. That's why they say number 13 is bad luck. There is no 13th floor on the elevator. They made us believe Friday the 13th. They made us believe that the number 13 was evil because they know once starseeds understand how powerful the number 13 is, we can break the matrix cycle. Everything is a repetitive cycle. Now, most of these celebrities are witches. They deal with the 13 witches. They deal with this program of recycling energy because another dark force told them they can live forever, but they can only live forever through their music and their movies. But us starseeds, we live forever through nature and real universal cycles. We don't depend on time. They need time. They need time. These celebrities are always fighting against time. That's all they know is time. But to really understand what's going on is we forgot how to protect ourselves and we forgot how to manifest from nature. We all have a great abundance within our spirits. All of us. But once you don't do your spiritual contract, you become lost. And once you become lost, other life forms can jump in and out of your body. This is the real natural selection because a lot of us are chosen people. A lot of us have a greater purpose. But once we start giving our energy to a fallen star or these fake celebrities or these 13 witches, remember, they always do chants and spells on us. Birthday chants, Christmas chants, Valentine's Day, Super Bowl. Anytime there's a repetitive cycle that happens every year, it is a spell. And these 13 witches are putting spells on the real starseeds.
These samples taken from an asteroid might have come from an ocean world. Last year, the spacecraft OSIRIS-REx took samples from this asteroid called Bennu. It's a bit closer to us than the asteroid belt, and one of the reasons why we wanted to study it is because, for one, asteroids are basically leftovers from the formation of the solar system, but also because Bennu has the highest probability of hitting Earth within the next 200 years of any rocky body. Though scientists do put those odds at less than 0.5%. When meteorites hit Earth, most of them burn up in the atmosphere, leaving us only scraps. But this sample is giving us a look into the uncontaminated material that we just never get to see. For starters, they have found water, carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus. Phosphorus is especially interesting because DNA and cell membranes use it as a kind of structural backbone. And phosphorus is thought to be a critical ingredient to the formation of life, especially in water. Saturn's moon Enceladus actually has a phosphate ocean, a whole world of it beneath this icy surface. So we know these kinds of worlds exist, and these samples could have come from one of those ancient worlds during the early formation of our solar system.
Did you know that a bunch of mad scientists figured out how to transfer consciousness? I came across this book that was written in 2007, and what's in the book is going to blow your freaking mind. So some of these studies are actually documented and go back to the 1800s, but I'm sure it's well before that. But first I'll point out that they found that consciousness exists beyond the field, beyond your physical self and subliminal mind. It's beyond that. So starting at the ground level, before we get to the really crazy stuff, we see that they found that consciousness can manifest as deeds, visions, worlds, reality, ready-made and full-blown without the accompaniment of perception. Then you can see right here, they talk about secondary manifestation of self. So we know that these philosophies actually go back to Eastern mysticism. Now, in the book, it's documented that this transfer of consciousness is done through hypnosis and the use of sounds, and even traumatic experiences. This part is insane though. It says he noted that secondary or subliminal conscious centers sometimes display awareness of each other, which means if they take my consciousness and put it in, just say a rock, just some other medium, it would be aware it was me, and so would I be aware I was me. He even says right here that my secondary self that they transferred my consciousness to would literally be aware of the same thoughts that were in my first self's mind, as well as the environment that my first subliminal self is in. Right here in 1880s, that Myers demonstrated that information produced by communicating with consciousness was sometimes vertical and could not be accounted for in terms of knowledge, but gained through some experience other than normal means. Telepathy. It gets crazier though. And basically right here it's saying that bystanders can be subjective to hallucinations produced by telepathic impression. So not only transferring consciousness, transferring impressions into people's minds. But wait, it gets crazier. Transferring injuries. So for example, one subject had spontaneously began crying painful tears, use the word painful, which we encountered earlier in some stigmatic cases. The tears could also be evoked by hypnotic suggestion. And watch this, the physician over the study suggested that they move the damage, the bleeding from the eyes, to her hands, again by hypnotic suggestion. Now in that specific study, it was saying that these injuries, wounds, whatever, could appear simultaneously, if not within that same hour. And here's them trying to make sense of it in the physical, rational world by saying that they're using their subliminal mind, which is making them think there's an injury in a location, therefore it creates the injury itself. This part's insane. Well, I mean, all of it is. Maternal impressions. There have been numerous cases reported throughout history in which any idea in the mind of a pregnant woman, usually triggered by her perception of another one's injury or deformity, have literally went to the baby. And here's a study from 1997 where they were literally transferring information to someone else's minds within seconds. There's a lot of stuff in this book I didn't get to, so if you want part 2, let me know. And if you try to discredit this book, just know there's like 1,000 scientific case studies linked, all put in the book at the end. My final thoughts: the world thinks that technology is not able to infiltrate our heads. If they've had this kind of knowledge, I'm sure they could have wired it into some kind of device like what you're looking at right now.
Can anybody say Black Mirror? If this article said it, then they already did it. How else would they even know that it worked? But I'm good on all that. I'm gonna keep my consciousness in my own body.
Stained glass windows. Go look up stained glass windows and how expensive stained glass windows are. Why are stained glass windows so expensive? Because the color spectrums that are coming through them are very healing. You have the reds and your blues and purples and greens and yellows, all these beautiful colors, all these fractals that are all coming through, which when those begin to hit your body, they structure your body. And stained glass windows are the same stained glass windows that are in the cathedrals. And you have to think of all the windows in the cathedrals. When your body walks into a cathedral, the water in your body becomes the exact depiction of the stained glass window in the cathedral. Water takes on everything because it takes on light. So when people would walk into those cathedrals, the water in their body would instantaneously look exactly like the stained glass window. And then the question is how did somebody know how to design something so beautiful? They knew that if I create this design, that if I walk in, the water in my body will take on that design. And think of everything now. You have everything in plastic and all this, like, it's junk. You don't have glass anymore. Glass is very magical. When you get into all the dyes of glass, you get into copper, a lot of copper, all that blue, different things with cobalt, different things with all these different dyes that they used to use. Well, somebody knew how to create colors. They know how to mix things together to create colors, to then craft stained glass windows, and then also structure the water of your body at the same time so you begin to heal.
Come on, you know I'm ticklish. Oh, you want me to tickle you back, huh? Oh, you want me to tickle you back? Yeah, that's what I thought.
That was cat. A wig or something? A headpiece? You can clearly tell her arms is in the same Legs. Why they doing Mike like that?
I like rusty spoons. I like to touch them. The feeling of rust against my salad finger.
Might sound crazy, but I'm gonna keep it a bean. I think all this was planned. I think we have the technology to create clouds, to create any natural disaster, and I think that LA, and especially in downtown area of LA, are all for gentrification. So if they could wash away all the issues, and you know what I'm talking about, it will do exactly that at any cost. Run that video, and this is for educational purposes only. Share this with some of you love, care, and respect. Los Angeles, California flood. Run it.
That's a whole lot of water.
Would you eat this tumor? What if I told you it would save the Earth from climate change? What about now? Would you eat this? Because the United States just became one of 2 countries to approve the sale of lab-grown meat, something that's only possible thanks to cancer. My name's Patrick, I have a degree in nutrition and actually used to work for a genetic analysis lab. Yes, lab-grown meat is modeled off of cancer cells, one specific trait of cancer cells, the fact that they can reproduce indefinitely. Cancer cells have a trait known as immortalization. Think of your DNA as a shoelace, and at the tip of that shoelace there's a hard cap that prevents it from fraying. I always forget what it's called, let me know what it's called in the comments. In your DNA they're called telomeres. It's a cap at the end of your DNA that prevents it from fraying, because if it frayed when it replicated it would cause mutations and we would all just look like genetic freaks. Actually, we would all just look really old. We would die without these telomeres, and every single time we grow our DNA is replicated and we lose a little chunk of this telomere. After enough time the strand of DNA will look like this, which I'm sure some of your guys' shoelaces look like this right now, and it is rendered useless. That cell dies. Can't have that in lab-grown meat because we need that DNA to continue to replicate so we can get some petri dish steaks. What's unique about cancer is it has this enzyme called telomerase, which can actually replace the cap at the end of our DNA. That way the cells can just rapidly divide and spread and get bigger and bigger and bigger without any controls. So scientists took this character trait from cancer and applied it to steaks in a lab so that the steaks could just replicate and continue to grow and you wouldn't have to harvest animals anymore. However, it's very important to note 2 things. 1, lab-grown meat is not cancer cells. They are not the same. And 2, more importantly, immortalized meat in lab-grown meat is not the same as normal meat. It is structurally different. Genetically, new information has been added to the genes which change its functionality. It changes everything about them. Can't believe I have to say this, but we also don't know the long-term ramifications of eating this genetically changed meat. I hope there's no long-term ramifications, because over the next decade, I believe a lot of people will be adopting this lab-grown meat as a healthy, planet-saving alternative. Share this video with people, because I don't think the majority of individuals who are going to be eating this lab-grown meat are actually going to stop and think about what I'm saying here.
Sounds yummy, right?
Here's some major news that was kind of buried by the mainstream media. The world's first 3D printed neural tissue grows and functions like a human brain. Think about that. 3D printed artificial tissue that grows, but it's brain tissue. The article states that researchers have created the first functional 3D printed brain tissue at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. They're saying it would help with Alzheimer's, dementia, and other things. They also said it could change the way that people look at stem cell biology, neuroscience, and other studies of the brain. Now this all seems great, but I got to thinking about this. What if someone takes that 3D printed brain tissue and adds it to one of the AI robots that are going to come out in the next couple of years? Has this already been predicted by a science fiction TV show? Could this be the beginning of Star Trek's Borg? Half living tissue, half robot? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. But every good invention, it seems like eventually it gets corrupted. What do you think about this entire situation, Booshkies? Let me know in the comment section. Shabadoo!
If they was to put that in the robot, I'm guessing that'd be the start to the end of humanity. You can control wires and transistors and stuff, but actual tissue?
Took us to this place. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Okay, what if they have guns?
Why do we just go to this fucking quantum point and this whole fucking person is Sky? Oh my fucking god! Bitch, I can't! What if the person shows up in my rear view camera? No, bitch, I can't!
My older sisters and I went randonauting with the intention to find something creepy and unexplainable. Well, our power score was literally 666, and it took us to this place in Los Angeles where we found this sign that said, "It will end in tears." And then there were these creepy markings on the back of the sign. We traveled up the hill some more and we saw this gate in front of this really creepy house. Be safe out there when randonauting.
This is light work.